angle of arrival. Okay, the angle of departure and angle of arrival calculation procedure will be same. Reference complex conjugate pole or reference complex conjugate 0. Measure the angles made by poles and measure the angles made by zeros, and you find the angle of departure and angle of arrival. Okay. Now we will solve a few other kind of problems. Now the transfer function is like this. G of s, which is equal to k into s plus 2 by s into s plus 1. Now first you have to identify number of poles are 2, number of zeros are 1. So this is number of poles greater than number of zeros, which means that this is a practical transfer function. If it is a practical transfer function, there are 3 points which are available for us. Complete root locus branches are NP, which is equal to 2. Root locus branches terminates at infinity is NP minus NZ, which is equal to 2 minus 1, which is equal to 1. Now root locus branches terminates at 0. The root locus branches terminates at 0 is NZ. Terminates at 0 is NZ, which is equal to 1. Now these are the 3 points. Now you find angle of asymptote. NP minus NZ is 1. Only one angle of asymptote. The one and only one angle of asymptote is nothing but 180 degrees minus NP minus NZ. 180 degrees by 1, which is equal to 180 degrees. And centroid sigma. The centroid sigma, which is equal to sum of the real parts of poles 0 minus 1 minus sum of the real parts of zeros by NP minus NZ, which is equal to plus 2 minus 1. This is plus 1. Minus 1 plus 2, which is equal to plus 1. Now we will try to draw the root locus diagram. Now one pole is at origin and one pole is at minus 1 and 1 0 is at minus 2, and this is the root locus branch. This is not the root locus branch. Now this entire real axis is a root locus branch. Now you have to recollect your previous basic concepts. Leftmost side there is a 0. After that 0, entire real axis is a root locus branch. I am giving one concept. There is a chance of existing one break-in point after this particular 0 to minus infinity. Now it is correct or not, we will verify here. Okay. Now where is centroid? Now the centroid lies anywhere on the real axis. The centroid is now plus 1. From here to how many angle of asymptote? From here to only one angle of asymptote. That one angle of asymptote is nothing but 180 degrees. This is the only one angle of asymptote, which is 180 degrees. Now the root locus diagram starts with k equal 0. The root locus diagram starts with k equal 0. Starts with open loop pole. As k is changing, closed loop pole is moving. As k is changing, closed loop pole is moving. The root locus diagram starts with k equal to 0. Now these two closed loop poles are meet at a particular point. Now this particular point is nothing but a breakaway point. Now this is leaves the real axis. Now after leaving, now see here, it is searching for 0. it is searching for 0. And these two root locus branches are enter into the real axis. And these two root locus branches are enter into the real axis. These two root locus branches are enter into the real axis. These two root locus branches are enter into the real axis at a particular point. Now this is nothing but these two root locus branches are enter into the real axis at a particular point. This particular point is nothing but a break-in point. Now this is nothing but a break-in point. Now after in, now one pole is moving, one branch is moving and terminates with this particular 0. The root locus branch terminates with k equal to infinity, terminates with open loop 0. Starts at poles, ends at 0. Now starts at poles. Now there is another direction here. This is angle of asymptote, is the movement of the root locus branches which are approaches to infinity. As k is changing, closed loop pole is moving, and the root locus branch terminates with k equal to infinity, terminates with open loop 0. Now this is the root locus branch terminates with k equal to infinity. Now this is the root locus branch terminates with k equal to infinity. This is the open loop 0. This is the open loop 0 which is available at infinity. Now first you see how many complete root locus branches. This is 1 and this is 2. How many branches terminates at infinity? Only 1. This is the only branch. How many branches terminates at 0? At 0 only one branch is terminating. All are matching or not. Now the students are having a doubt that, sir, why the shape is like this? Why you draw a shape is like a circle? Am I right or not? Why you draw a shape is like this? There is a reason for that. Now this is break away point and this is break in point. And students are facing some problem of calculating breakaway point and break-in point also. Sir, characteristic equation, again differentiation, again k equal to function of s, again find the roots, and it will take some time, sir. Is there any other shortcut way to find the breakaway point and break-in point? And yes, there is a shortcut method, that also I will tell you. And why the root locus diagram shape is like a circle. Now if the trans function is like this, first you just note down this and I will tell you the reason behind that. Okay, and now see here. Now this is the problem This transfer function is of this kind, k into s plus b by s into s plus a. K into s plus b by s into s plus a. Now I replace s equal to sigma plus j omega, but here for easy calculations I take real part as x, imaginary part as y. Okay, x plus iy or jy. Now I replace s equal to x plus iy, x plus iy, x plus iy and find the angle of open loop transfer function. Now after replacing, find the angle of open loop transfer function, and that angle if you take a reference of 180 degrees. Why it is 180 degrees? Which means that angle condition is satisfied. Substitute this and find the angle of the open loop transfer function, and that angle if you take a 180 degrees and you simplify that equation, and you will form an equation now as a circle equation, and if you do that procedure and you can get a circle equation like this. Now x plus iy plus b, x plus iy, x plus iy plus a, and after that measure the angles of open loop transfer function and equate to 180 degrees. Simplify the equations, add some terms, subtract some terms and make the circle equation, and you can get a circle equation is like this: x plus b whole square plus y minus 0 whole square, which is equal to b into b minus a. Now this is not the circle equation, so we can make it circle equation. So now see here, what is circle equation? X minus h whole square plus y minus k whole square, which is equal to r square. This is a circle equation with center and radius. If you do the same procedure, whatever I am saying, x plus iy plus b, x plus iy, x plus iy plus a, real part, imaginary part, find the angles and equal to minus 180 degrees or plus 180 degrees, and the equation simplified, and you can get the circle equation is like this. Now my question is, what is center? If you observe here, the center is minus b comma 0, but in our problem the center is nothing but, and radius is square root of b into b minus a. Center is minus b comma 0, which is nothing but minus 2 comma 0, and radius is square root of b into 2 into 2 minus 1, which is equal to root 2. Now see here, that is the reason why the shape of the circle with center minus 2 comma 0, minus 2 comma 0, minus 2 comma 0, and radius is root 2. Radius is root 2, center is minus 2 comma 0. Now the break point. Now in a shortcut method, students, now the break point is nothing but center plus or minus radiate itself. Shortcut method. Then you go to home and you do the long procedure. What is the long procedure? Now characteristic equation, k function of s, differentiate, find the roots. That roots and these roots will give the same result. The break point is nothing but center plus or minus radius. Center is minus 2 plus or minus radius is root 2. So if you simplify this, now 1 is minus 2, this is minus 3.414, right? Minus 2 and 1.414, 3.414, and this is minus 2 plus root 2. Minus 2 plus root 2 is nothing but this is minus 2 and plus 1.41. Now which is nothing but this is nothing but around 0.59. Yes, this is 0 to minus 1. Therefore minus 0.59 and another one is minus 3.41. Now see here, 0 to minus 1, there is a breakaway point. Therefore, this is breakaway point. And minus 2 to minus infinity, what I am saying, minus 2, leftmost side there is a 0. After that 0, entire real axis is a root locus branch. Now between this 0 to minus infinity, there is a break-in point. Therefore, this is the break-in point. Is matching or not? Even if you go for the long method, find characteristic equation and find k equal to function of s and differentiate k with respect to s and find roots. Now that roots and this will be the same. But how much time is saved? And around half an hour time you spending for doing the long procedure. Now with center and radius method, you can get the answer directly. Okay. Now this is a important one. Now why the shape is like a circle? Now this is the reason why the shape is, the root locus diagram shape is circle. And what is the breakaway point, break-in point? Why you are not calculating a long method? Because I already short method is available directly. Okay. Now such center radius problems are almost all are similar kind, similar way. Okay. So there is no need to by heart. While you are solving the problems, you can easily recognize this is a center radius problem and this is a general problem. Okay. Now you just note down this. Okay. Now this is the advantages of a problem is of circle and radius form. So now this is the category of the problems what we are solved is nothing but a shape of circle with having some center and with having some radius, such that it is very easy to find the break points also, right? Now I just do a small change, k into s plus 2 into s into s minus 1. Okay. Now same practical transfunction, number of complete root locus branches are np, 1 and 2. Now 2 minus 1 is terminating at infinity and one branch is terminating at 0. Only one angle of asymptote is 180 degrees and centroid sigma, which is nothing but the centroid sigma, which is nothing but 0 sum of real parts of poles minus sum of real parts of zeros by np minus nz. Therefore centroid sigma is plus 3. Now this is the centroid sigma, which is plus 3. This is the centroid sigma, which is equal to plus 3. Now, one pole is at origin and one pole is at plus 1 and 1 0 is at minus 2. Now identify the root locus branches. This is the root locus branch. No root locus branch. Now this entire negative real axis after minus 2 is the root locus branch. Then centroid sigma. The centroid sigma is plus 3. Centroid lies anywhere on the real axis. From here, how many angle of asymptote? Only one angle of asymptote. Now that one angle of asymptote is nothing but 180 degrees. Now the root locus diagram starts with k equal to 0, starts with open loop pole, right? As k is changing, closed loop pole is moving. As k is changing, closed loop pole is moving. As k is changing, closed loop pole is moving. And these two are meet at a particular point. Now that particular point is called as breakaway point. Now it will form a shape of circle, and it will form a shape of circle and enter into the real axis, and it will form a shape of circle and enter into the real axis. Now as k is changing, closed loop pole is moving. As k is changing, closed loop pole is moving, and these root locus branches enter into the real axis at a particular point. Right? That particular point is called as break-in point. After in, now one root locus branch is going and terminates with k equal to infinity, terminates with open loop 0. Another root locus branch is going here. Another root locus branch is going here and terminates with k equal to infinity, terminates with open loop 0, because this is the angle of asymptote showing the direction where the root locus branches approaches to infinity. All are matching. Starts at poles, ends at 0. Starts at poles, ends at 0. Now total complete root locus branches are 2. How many branches terminates at infinity? The only one branch is terminating at infinity. How many branches terminates at 0? Only one branch. All are matching or not? Yes. Now see here. Now this is also a shape of circle because this is same. What is the small change? Now this is s into s minus a. Therefore your circle equation will be changed to square root of b into b plus a. Right? Now this is center, okay, but radius is 2 into 2 plus 1. Therefore this is root 3 into 2, root 6. So now the break point is nothing but center plus or minus radius minus 2 plus or minus root 6. Therefore, now see here, this is break away point. Now this is break in point. Okay. Then if you want, you find a gain also. Gain at breakaway point K1, gain at break in point K2. You know the procedure, right? Now this is breakaway point and this is break in point. What is breakaway point and what is break in point? No need of long procedure, direct procedure, and you can get the answer directly. Now this is nothing but minus 2 minus root 6 is a break in point, minus 2 plus root 6 is a breakaway point. So this is minus 2, around minus 2, minus 4 something. Okay. Now this is minus 2, why not? Now this is minus 2 plus this is 2 point something. Therefore, here this is minus 2 and this is root 6 is some 2 point something. Therefore, this is plus 0.5 something, 0.4. So this is the breakaway point and this is the breaking point. Is matching or not? Yes. Now this is also a shape of circle with center minus 2 comma 0 with radius with center minus 2 comma 0 with radius root 6. Okay, almost all circle root locus diagram shape of circle will be in the same form. Numerator is B, denominator is A. Okay, like that also you can easily identify. But if options are available, the root locus diagrams are available in the 4 options, then don't do all these rules and regulations. Use these 3 methods and at least eliminate 2 options among the 4. Now the transfer function g of s, which is equal to k into s plus 4 by s plus 2 into s plus 1. Okay. Now this is the same again practical transfer function. Complete root locus branches are np, which is 2. Number of root locus branches terminates at infinity 2 minus 1. Number of branches terminates at 0 is 1. One angle of asymptote and centroid sigma. Is the intersection point of angle of asymptotes on real axis minus 2 minus 1 minus 4 by np minus nz. So 4 minus 3 plus 1. Now One pole is at -1, one pole is at -2, and 1 0 is at -4. Now this is the root locus branch, no root locus branch. Now this entire is a root locus branch. Now the root locus diagram starts with k equals 0. The root locus diagram starts with k equals 0, starts with open loop pole, starts with open loop pole. Before that, where is centroid? Centroid sigma is +1. How many angle of asymptote? Only one angle of asymptote. What is that? 180 degrees. This is the one angle of asymptote, which is 180 degrees. Clear or not? Now see here. Now the root locus diagram, as k is changing, closed loop pole is moving. As k is changing, closed loop pole is moving. This is the closed loop pole movement. And these two are meeting at a particular point. Now leaves the real axis, and it will form a shape of circle, and it will enter into the real axis at a particular point. This particular point is called as break-in point, because you know that reason, and after that 0 there is a chance of existing one break-in point, because these are the possibilities which we already discussed. Now after that, now as k is changing, closed loop pole is moving and terminates with k equal to infinity, terminates with open loop 0. As k is changing, closed loop pole is moving in this direction, because this is the angle of asymptote. Now what is the angle of asymptote saying? Angle of asymptote is saying that now we have 1 0 here. The angle of asymptotes are the root locus branches which are approaches to infinity. As k is changing, closed loop pole is moving, and this root locus branch terminates with k equal to infinity, terminates with open loop 0. Right? Now see here, this is break away point, and this is break in point. This is gain at breakaway point is some k1, and this is gain at break-in point is some k2. You know all the parameters, you can easily calculate it. But now the thing here is, now this is a shape of circle, therefore now what should be the center? Now this is nothing but like a problem is like this: k into s plus b by s plus a1 into s plus a2. The problem is like this. So which is nothing but minus b comma 0 is a center, minus b comma 0 is nothing but minus 4 comma 0. Radius is nothing but minus square root of b minus a1 and b minus a2, square root of b minus a1 into b minus a2, which is nothing but square root of 4 minus 1 into 4 minus 2, which is nothing but 2 into 3, this is root 6. Therefore, now the center is minus 4 plus or minus radius is root 6. Therefore, now this is center minus 4 comma 0 and radius which is nothing but root 6. Now this minus 4 plus root 6 is around minus 2 point something. This is minus 4 plus, sorry, minus 4 plus root 6. This is minus 4 plus 2 into 3. This is root 6, right? Now this is minus 4 more negative. Now this is 2 point something. Now this is 2 point something and this is minus 4. Now minus 4 plus 2 point something minus 2 point. Now this is the breakaway point and this is break-in point. Now this is the break-in point is nothing but after minus 4 to minus infinity. Therefore this is minus 4 minus root 6. So this is in point and this is the away point. Now one pole is at minus 1 and another pole is at minus 2. All the root locus diagram, the shape of circles will be in the same kind of problems. Okay, so you note down that. Now this is minus 4 plus root 6 is nothing but around minus 4 plus 2 means minus 2. Again some point 1 means 1 point something. This is minus 1 to minus 2. It is around minus 1 point something is the breakaway point and minus 4 again to minus 6 point something is the breaking point. Okay, note down. Okay. Now almost all are say similar kind. The circle and radius forms are all in similar kind. Okay. Sometimes this problem is given and he just asks only breakaway point or break-in point. In such a situation also it is very easy. Okay. Now the transfer function g of s, which is equal to, now the transfer function g of s, which is equal to k into s plus 4 into s plus 2 by s square into s plus 8. This is the transfer function. Okay. Now again, this is also the practical transfer function. So the complete root locus branches are np, but here np is now 3. Root locus branches terminates at infinity is np minus nz, 3 minus 2, which is equal to 1. Now root locus branches terminates at 0 is nz, which is equal to 2. So how many angle of asymptote? 3 minus 2, 1. Therefore only one angle of asymptote. Centroid sigma is, now the centroid sigma is sum of the real parts of poles minus sum of the real parts of zeros by np minus nz. Therefore now the centroid sigma minus 8 plus 6 minus 2. Now locate the poles and zeros on S plane first. Now there are two poles at origin. There are two poles at origin and one 0 is at minus 2 and another 0 is at minus 4 and one pole is at minus 8. Now centroid sigma is here. Now there is a root locus branch here. Now there is no root locus. This is the root locus branch. Now between the two poles at origin, there is a two poles at origin. There is also a root locus branch, right? Now see here. Now the root locus diagram starts with k equal to 0. Starts with k equal to 0. Now the one centroid sigma is, this is the centroid sigma. From here how many angle of asymptote? Only one angle of asymptote. What is that angle of asymptote? That angle of asymptote which is nothing but 180 degrees. Now we will close this issue. Now see here, the root locus diagram starts with k equal to 0. The root locus diagram starts with k equal to 0, starts with open loop pole. As k is changing, closed loop pole is moving, and this is the direction of the angle of asymptote which are approaches to infinity, and the root locus diagram terminates with k equal to infinity, terminates with open loop 0. Okay, starts at poles, ends at 0. Next, the root locus diagram starts with k equal 0. Now this portion is completed. Now s plus 8 portion is completed. When s plus 8 portion is completed, now the problem is like this: k into s plus b1 into s plus b2 by s square. Yes, now this problem and the remaining problem will be same, and it is having some shape of circle, because when two poles at origin, there are two poles at origin. Now between them there is a root locus branch, and definitely there is a chance of existing breakaway point. Okay, definitely there is a chance of existing the breakaway point. This is the two poles at origin. Two poles at origin. Now see here, as k is changing, closed loop pole is moving. As k is changing, closed loop pole is moving, and it will take a shape of circle with radius Now it will enter into the real axis because now this is the zeros, right? Now as k is changing, closed loop pole is moving. As k is changing, closed loop pole is moving. As k changes, closed loop pole is moving and enter into the real axis. Now as k changes, closed loop pole is moving. The root locus branch terminates with k equal to infinity, terminates with open loop 0. As k is changing, closed loop pole is moving. The root locus branch terminates with k equal to infinity, terminates with open loop 0. Terminates with k equal to infinity, terminates with open loop 0. Now see here, there are two adjacently placed poles. Between them there is a root locus branch. Then what is the distance? The distance, that gap is nothing but 0. Therefore, sir, what is center? What is radius? If this kind of problems are available, therefore, now for that kind of problem, now this is the center radius circle form. So center is minus b1 into b2 by b1 plus b2 comma 0, and radius is b1 into b2 by b1 plus b2. Now see, in our case b1 b2, 4 into 2 minus 8 by 4 plus 2, 6, minus 8 by 6 comma 0. What is radius? 4 into 2, 8 by 6. Therefore, the center plus or minus radius is nothing but break point. The break point is nothing but center plus or minus radius. The break point is nothing but center plus or minus radius. Center is minus 8 by 6, plus or minus radius is also 8 by 6. Now see here, now this center plus or minus radius, minus 8 by 6 plus 8 by 6, 0, minus 8 by 6 minus 8 by 6. Now this is minus 8 by 6 plus 8 by 6. Now you tell me what is the point. Now this is nothing but 0. This is break away point because two poles at origin. This is the break away point and this is break in point. Is it right or not? Now minus 8 by 6. So minus 16 by 6 minus 8 by 3. Now this is some 2 point something here. Now this is the break in point and this is the breakaway point. Now the center is 1 point minus 8 by 6 means 1.33 comma 0 is the center and the radius, which is nothing but 1.33. Clear or not? Now this is if the problem is only of this much, now that is nothing but a circle and radius form. Okay. Now all the kind of circle and radius forms will be same. Now you just note down this one also.